Yeah, I started, Rama.
Okay, thank you. So let us start today's webinar. So respected senior members of INS and friends, I am happy to invite you to this 23rd INS webinar, which is one of the important program of INS. It is aimed to bring to the knowledge of our members important development in the area of science and engineering and technology. And of course, the normally the focus is on nuclear. So that is how we keep the interest of our community here. And renewable is something which we are very keen to know about its development. So the webinar subcommittee has tried to cover particularly subjects on societal appeal to keep the talk with a popular flavor. Today we have invited Dr. Chandan Banerjee, Deputy Director General of National Institute of Solar Energy, which is under MNRE, and he is going to talk to us on various development of renewable energy in India. This is an important topic, matching with our commitment to control and mitigate the carbon emission and other greenhouse gases. So on behalf of INS and on my own behalf, I welcome you, sir, on our webinar platform. I am particularly impressed with your ready agreement to address our members in spite of your scheduled work in the institute. We are honored by your presence on our INS platform. It is heartening to recall here that India has added a record of 10 gigawatt of solar energy in its cumulative installed capacity in 2021. This is like recording nearly 200% year-to-year growth. So up to February 22, India has surpassed 50 gigawatt of cumulative installed capacity. Out of this, 42 gigawatt comes from ground-mounted PV solar panel. 6.48 gigawatt comes from the roof-mounted system, and 1.48 gigawatt of power comes from off-grid PV panels. India has set a target of 40 gigawatt of rooftop system, but could reach just 6.48 gigawatt. This is largely due to limited financing the residential consumers and small and medium enterprises. And so government is keen to improve the performance of the rooftop system in the near future. Though the installed capacity is impressive, the power contribution is only about 50 billion units, which is only about 3.6% of the total power generation in India of 1,390 billion units. There are many challenges like land cost, high T&D losses, inefficiencies, and grid integration. Though there is a low tariff on power generation, it is not translated into cheaper power for the end users. Solar industry is working in handling 35,000 tons of solar PV waste by 2030 by planning means of recovering material to be material from the PV system, which itself exceeds $15 billion, which could amount to cutting down on imports of solar cells and modules from abroad. So Dr. Chandan Banerjee is going to talk to us on more challenges ahead that can be sustained, that can help in sustaining and the growth of renewable energy, which is needed along with the nuclear to meet environmental commitments in 2050 and 2070. So with this opening remarks, I now call upon our President, S.K. Mehta, to give his opening remark.
Thank you, Dr. Ramarao. Welcome, Dr. Chandan Banerjee. I'm not seeing your photograph, but I'm welcoming you all with together. If we recall our commitment at the Glasgow summit, it calls for our practically net zero by 2030, and we have said that 50% of this will be renewable, and we will reduce our carbon emission by 1 million units by 2030. And there's a net zero 2070. So with this kind of thing, that one, the renewable energy has got an important role to play. Today, we expect that by 2030, renewable will be about 32% or so. I think the nuclear energy is going to stay very small quantity, about 5 to 7%. But we are looking forward to a combination of both the energy to meet our target of what commitment we have made at the Glasgow summit. That was there. So with these remarks, let me welcome Dr. Banerjee. We are looking forward to your talk and the kind of information that you will share. At the same time, we will also want to know how much self-reliant we can be in the area of solar energy. So, thank you. Welcome again. Welcome to all the members of INS. Welcome to all the people who are there.
Thank you, sir.
Banerjee.
Yeah.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Ramanamurthy, can you introduce the speaker to the audience, please?
Yeah, thank you, Ramaraji. Dr. Chandan Banerjee, it's my pleasure to welcome you on behalf of everyone else and myself. And it's my honor to present a brief profile to this forum. Dr. Banerjee is serving at the National Institute of Solar Energy as Deputy Director General Scientist F since 2016. He received his master's degree in physics from Jadavpur University in 1999 and MTech from IIT Kharagpur in 2000. He gained his PhD degree from Indian Association of the Cultivation of Science, Jadavpur University, Kolkata in 2003. He was a postdoctoral fellow in Tokyo Institute of Technology, Japan during 2004 to 2005. During his postdoctoral research work in Japan, he was awarded the prestigious JSPS postdoctoral fellowship and continued his postdoctoral research work as a JSPS postdoctoral fellow up to 2007 in Tokyo Institute of Technology. He joined Hind Vacuum Company Private Limited, Bangalore in 2007, where he served till 2013. Dr. Banerjee has authored more than 50 research papers in peer-reviewed journals and filed 11 patents in the area of solar technologies. He has wide expertise in running projects under the industry, academia, government tripartite relationships, and has successfully implemented more than 10 projects as principal investigator / co-principal investigator. He has been credited with developing India's first indigenous amorphous silicon-based thin film solar module production line while working with Hind Vacuum Private Limited, Bangalore, and at IACS, Kolkata. He has also received the prestigious National Solar Science Fellow Award by the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, Government of India, and has worked in the Indian Institute of Engineering, Science and Technology, Shibpur, Howrah, as a National Solar Science Fellow from 2013 to 2016. His research interests include thin film material and solar cells, heterojunction solar cells, PERC solar cells, transparent conducting oxide, PV module reliability, etc. I'm sure we're going to hear much more about all of the topics when he commences his presentation. So, Dr. Banerjee, it's my pleasure to hand over the floor to you. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Ramamurthy and Dr. Mehta, just for kind introduction. So let me start my presentation. So topics is the overview of solar energy development in India. And you can see the photograph. This is the administrative building of National Institute of Solar Energy. And the rooftop, you can see that 150 kilowatt rooftop is there. And the solar PV rooftop is there. And back side, you can see that the guest houses. So this is the National Energy. And then this, what happens? It's not going to next slide.
Yeah.
Just let me review the outline of my presentation as I am from the National Institute of Solar Energy. So I will take one slide to talk about my institution, what exactly we are doing. And of course, the next I will come to my main presentation, that overview of the renewable energy development in India. We talk about the history and potentials and the roadmap. And next, I'll come to the different schemes of Government of India, especially implemented by our ministry only. And I'll go in detail, the scheme-wise detail about the different schemes. And fourth, actually, I've added, it is not directly related to the solar, but it is somehow related to the solar. Nowadays, you know that a lot of emphasis is given to the green hydrogen. And our Honorable PM in the last year, 15th August, announced the Green Hydrogen Mission. And of course, the green and renewable is linked to each other. So I'll just put few slides for about the green hydrogen mission. This is basically MNRE, Ministry of Renewable Energy, has got 3 autonomous bodies who are working the 3 different areas of renewable energy. One is, of course, solar energy, that is our institution, National Institute of Solar Energy. And 2 more is there, National Institute of Wind Energy and National Institute of Bioenergy. So all 3 institutions who are working in a different field of the renewable energy. And 2 PSUs is there under our administrative control of MNRE. One is IREDA and one is SECI, Solar Energy Corporation of India. So coming back to the NICE, we do R&D, both in basic and applied research. We do the testing of solar equipments. You know, the lot of solar components are there, including the solar PV module, solar battery, solar inverter, solar water pumping system, solar lighting system. And there are some, this is all PV related, and solar thermal related, like solar water heater, solar water, other heating system, like so through solar solar thermal route. So those all the equipment testing labs we have, and all are NABL accredited. And not only do the testing and standardization, we do a lot of preparation of the guidelines, of the testing guideline. Like there are few new things are coming, like the cleaning system of PV module. So there is no guideline, even standard nowadays, even globally. So we are developing those guidelines as well. And sometimes we are the part of the BIS also. So the standard preparation of these different, finally we convert these guidelines into standards, which is adopted by BIS in many times. So this is the one of the area we working. Other area is the skill development and training. We are doing, of course, the training and skill developments all are very small in the short term, 3 to 5 days, maximum 10 days, just on a solar specific technological area. And it is most of the time it is on request basis, like sometimes some PSUs, they want from their officers to train in certain areas. So we conduct some training. And you can see that we have written the Surya Mitra program. This is one of the flagship program of our ministry. You know that when National Solar Mission launched initially about 20 gigawatt target of solar, and in the later stage it was increased to 100 gigawatt by 2022. So there was a survey by CII that almost if we implement the 100 gigawatt solar in the ground level, we need a for operation and maintenance around 650,000 manpower at the level of ITI or diploma pass. So they should be trained, hands-on training is required. So as a pilot scale, our ministry has launched a program, Surya Mitra program, initially and it launched in 2015-16, and 5 years to train 50,000 Surya Mitras. And it was implemented by NICE. Of course, NICE has not given the training directly. They have empaneled the institution across the country through the expression of interest. And of course, guidelines and everything prepared by NICE, and 50,000 Surya Mitras trained across the country. And it was the phase 1, and phase 2 also being implemented by NICE. It is another 20,000 will be added in another 4 years. And we do the entrepreneurship development program, and we have the solar product development and innovation division, and we have developed many products. And one of the product I should mention that solar dryer, and we have on a pilot scale we have deployed 300 plus such solar dryer in Leh and Ladakh region, and for their apricot drying. And this is one of the good product. Other than that, we have the solar cold storage. We are in a discussion with the Ministry of Agriculture to put in a scheme to deploy all these solar cold storage and solar based product across the country. We do consultancy also. The consultancy mainly the feasibility study, pre and post commissioning of the solar power plant across the country. We make the DPR. We make the design and all these things for the private as well as the government agencies. And we also do the performance evaluation, monitoring and data research, because you know that through the solar mission, many big power plants as the solar parks are coming across the country. And we need the data to be monitored and to be evaluation performance, and to guide and suggest, being a National Institute of Solar Energy, how to improve the performance and what are the issues on those power plants, so that we have the different groups who are working on that. We have the solar resource assessment. You know, the solar resource assessment is one of the key area to find out the solar potential across the country. And we have 115 SRR stations across the country and 4 master stations. And out of the 4, one is of course at NICE, and one is in Calcutta, one is in South India, and one is in Mumbai. So the 4 master station and 115 substations are there in across the country, just to assess the solar resources across the country. And we do the lot of the interface between the government, R&D organization, industry, and individuals. And very recently, you know, that there is a government, our ministry has put that approved list of modules manufacturer and models in and sale in India. That also implemented by NICE only. Our team goes to all the manufacturing site, do the due diligence and audit basically. And based on the recommendation, ministry published the list periodically. So, renewable energy in India, if you see that it has a long history, you know, in 1950, the R&D work on renewable energy initiated by CSIR. In 1972, the National Committee on Science and Technology under DST formulated Renewable Energy Development Plan. In 76, R&D activities initiated by DST, and 81, Commission of Additional Sources of Energy set up as Apex National Policy Making Body. And 82, separate Department of Non-Conventional Energy Sources set up to provide thrust to this sector. And in 1992, the full-fledged Ministry of Non-Conventional Energy Sources was set up. It was, the name was MNES, and it was renamed in 2006. The name of the ministry changed to Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. So India is the only country which has a separate ministry for renewables. Normally, in all other countries, the ministry is a particular department under some ministry, but we have a separate ministry in India. So India's you know, there was recently in Glasgow, there's a COP26, that is Conference of Parties, COP26 headquarters in Glasgow. India took a pledge that they will achieve the target of net zero by 2070 and non-fossil energy capacity to reach 500 gigawatt by 2030. 50% power generation capacity from non-fossil sources by 2030. projected carbon emission to reduce by 1 billion tons by 2030, decarbonization and energy independence and security, and emission intensity of GDP to reduce by 45% by 2030, vis-a-vis 2005. So renewable energy deployment is essential to achieving these goals. These are the programs and the schemes, the intervention basically to achieve this target: the rooftop solar program, PM Kusum scheme, green energy corridor, solar park scheme, PLI for solar manufacturing, the policy intervention, the RPO trajectory, interstate transmission tariff waiver, then standard bidding guidelines, and then B sheet, there is basically the basic custom duty, the introduction of ALMM, and 100% FDI under automatic route. And institutional mechanism, of course, the RD implementing agencies are there, and intermediate procurer like the Solar Energy Corporation under the administrative control of our ministry. They do a lot of bidding for the country, for the other states as well. The technical institution, as I mentioned, the NICE, NIBE, and NIBE, and of course, the project development cell of the ministry. We see that renewable energy development in India has been aided by strong policy and regulatory backing. If you see from this graphical presentation that in the 2003, that enactment of the Electricity Act, then National Electricity Policy introduced in 2005, National Tariff Policy introduced in 2006, and like that, even it is recently 21-22 also the RPO trajectory, which is mentioned in 2018, but very recently it is a little old slide. 2020-21 also the RPO trajectory was announced. Renewable purchase obligatory. So that is the strong renewable energy development, and this is strong policy and regulatory backing for the renewable energy development across the country. So if you see that, just I wanted to mention that normally the hydro power comes in the renewable source, but there is a small nomenclature issue that up to 25 megawatt, the small hydro is considered under renewable energy, and beyond 25 megawatt, the large hydro is not directly considered as a part of the renewable energy. So now here, total installed power capacity is on April 30th this year. This is 400.99 gigawatt. Where the thermal is contributed to 236.10 gigawatt, which is 58.9% of the total. Renewable 111.39 gigawatt. I'll give the breakup of the renewable in the next slide, which is a contribution of 27.8% of the total installed power capacity. Nuclear is 6.78 gigawatt, which is 1.70%. And hydro means this is the large hydro, which is more than 25 megawatt plant size. That is 39.72 gigawatt, which is a share of 9.90%. This slide is talking about the breakup of that 111.39 gigawatt total RE installed capacity, where that share of solar is 49.67%, which is aggregated capacity of 55.33 gigawatt. Small hydro, which is less than 25 gigawatt, is 4.85 gigawatt, which is 4.35%. Of course, the share. Wind is 40.52 gigawatt, having share 36.38%, and the biomass has got 10.69 gigawatt, which is 9.60% of the share. Yeah, the renewable energy potential. Just I was mentioning about that solar resource assessment. So there are different tools to assess that potential of the different renewable sources. The solar energy has got the potential is around 750 gigawatt. It is little lower side. If you nowadays, you know, the lot of installation is going on the which is called basically on the water bodies. So those are not considered while calculating that potential. So this potential is and recently there is Kusum scheme has come, where the barren land of the fertilizer for agricultural land also there is a target of certain gigawatt to covered by solar. So all these things, if we take together, it is much more than 750 gigawatt. But anyway, this is a 750 gigawatt of the solar power potential. Wind potential is got 695 gigawatt. Waste to energy has got 2.55 gigawatt. Co-generation has a 13.9, biomass 28.4, and small hydro has got potential 211.33 gigawatt. So altogether is more than 1700 gigawatt has a potential of renewable energy in India. So roadmap for renewable power. By 2022, the target of renewable energy was 175 gigawatt, out of which was 100 gigawatt of by solar, and that 100 gigawatt also in the two part, on 40 gigawatt as a rooftop and 60 gigawatt as a ground mounted.
How are you?
India made a commitment in Paris Climate Agreement that to reduce emission intensity of the economy by 1/3, and for having at least 50% electric power installed capacity from clean energy sources by 2030. And that 175 segregation is here. That is solar was 100 and 5, bio 10, and wind energy 60. And recently in Glasgow COP26, India made a pledge that by 2030 they will reach 500 gigawatt in RE, out of which the 280 gigawatt is solar, will be the solar. Yeah, so this is a table we're talking about target, which was a target by 2022. You can see that 175, and we can see the installed capacity as on 30th April 2022, and data is that source is MNRE, of course. The solar power is 55.33, wind 40.52, bio 10.68, small hydro 4.85. And under implementation is 35.33 solar, 8.80 wind, bio. There is no distance because in the second phase, basically, it is under approval stage. And the small hydro is 0.42. And the hybrid round the clock picking power. So there is certain these things that there is 4.24. So altogether, this is 48.76. And tendered amount is solar power 21.32. That 35.33, what I'm talking about, 100%, which is tendered out and at a project work order issued to the developer. And under tendering process is 21.32 of solar, wind 1.20, bio is nothing there. Again, the hybrid down the clock is 4.80. Hybrid is basically solar and wind. You know that in the daytime there is a sun, and in the nighttime some area there's a wind. So it's basically a hybrid idea to that there'll be sun and there's solar and wind hybrid, so that we can get the round the clock electricity. And total installed or pipeline altogether, if we add together, so it is you can see that 100 was a target, and we will achieve the 103.05 of the solar. Of course, wind there will be little shortfall. It is 49.59. Bio also will achieve. Small hydro also will be achieved, and actually there is a wind and solar hybrid, that is 9.04. So altogether 177.45 gigawatt, including the installed and pipeline, which is the project are in pipeline together. So this is the status as on 30th April 2022. Coming back to the different schemes, that major existing schemes for solar sector, basically, there are different schemes which is at present is there. The solar park scheme, which is also called the ultra mega renewable energy power parks, and central public sector undertaking scheme, rooftop program phase 2, PM Kusum, green energy corridor, and solar PV manufacturing and PLI scheme. Solar park, as of now, the 56 solar parks sanctioned in 15 states with aggregated capacity of 38.3 gigawatt, including the floating solar parks. Floating solars, as I was mentioning, that these are the solar panels, deployed over water bodies. So those are called the floating solar. And 10 gigawatt capacity installed across the solar parks as of now. A list of commissioned mega solar park, Pavagawa, one of the world largest, 2000 megawatt, Bhadla 1000 megawatt, Karnool 1000 megawatt, Rewa 750 megawatt. Is a single solar park having capacity this much. So these are the solar park scheme. This is one of the latest scheme introduced by ministry, and one of the successful scheme, basically PM Kusum, Pradhan Mantri Kishan Urja Suraksha Evam Uttam Mahabhiyan. So this is called the Kusum, PM's Kusum scheme. This is basically the solarizing the agriculture. So this has got three components in the scheme. The component A is the 10,000 megawatt of grid connected solar plants. It is the lowest capacity to 500 kilowatt and maximum up to 2 megawatt capacity can be installed. Component B is basically the 20 lakhs of grid solar agriculture pumps, up to 7.5 horsepower capacity of the pumps. And component C is the solarization of the 15 lakhs grid connected agri pumps up to 7.5 HP. These are the three components of the this scheme. Objective is that to decarbonize agriculture, because that nowadays, if you go many places, these pumps are run by diesel. So that is the idea. That was the idea that to introduce the Kusum scheme, just to decarbonize agriculture. Increase farmers' incomes, because if some farmers has got the barren land, they can put 500 to 2 megawatt capacity solar plant, and there is a tripartite agreement between the DISCOM and the landowner and the banks, so that banks do the financing basically, and DISCOM purchase the electricity directly from there, and they pay to the bank, and bank minus their EMIs, and they pay the rest amount to the farmer. So this is a very strong, mechanism introduced, and there are a lot of success stories. And there was certain other program I was attended, and there were some farmers from Rajasthan, and they have a big lands, and they are earning in lakhs, and 4 to 5 lakhs in a month by solarizing by putting the such using the component A part of the scheme. This is the rooftop program. The rooftop program is, the target was 40 gigawatt cumulative target for rooftop was. As of net installed capacity is 5.9 gigawatt, 4 gigawatt allocated to residential sector with incentives. That incentives basically in the 2 stages. If somebody is putting rooftop up to 3 kilowatt, they will get 40% subsidy, the central financing in residential systems. And in case the 3 to 10 kilowatt, it can be residential, it can be a RWA. RWA case, it is up to 500 kilowatt. the 20% CFA will be given. 3.316 gigawatt capacity allocated to discoms of 33 states, and out of that, more than 1.2 gigawatt installed. There is a major shortfall in the rooftop vis-a-vis the ground mounted one. Major reason is behind that is the policy preparation of the different state government, and discom always, because that rooftop scheme, it through net metering, that whatever you will produce at your roof, it will be given to the main grid through the net metering. So discoms always thought this is a actually threat for them. So there is always a some kind of hindrance from the discom side as well. And of course, the policy preparation in the different state government, that delay in that. That is why the major delay has come. But now a lot of steps have been taken, and hopefully this will be accelerated very soon, the rooftop program. CPSU as a scheme is that the setting up solar PV power projects by government producers like PSU is the government organization using domestically manufactured solar cells and modules for own consumption. The target between 1920 to 22-23 is 12,000 megawatt, and government of India support offered actually. These are economically okay, but commercially it's not viable. So viability gap funding up to rupees 70 lakhs per megawatt was introduced. Implementing agency, earlier it was SECI, now it has been changed to IREDA. Mode of allocation by bidding on VGF required. Allowed uses of solar power generated self-use or used by other government organization through discoms. Current status is that 2,026 megawatt capacity under implementation and 5,000 megawatt capacity under bidding stage. So this is the under the CPSU scheme. Green energy corridor is one of the latest addition of the scheme by our ministry. This is basically the laying of the new transmission lines and creating new substation for evacuation of renewable energy. Being implemented in 8 renewable energy rich states like Tamil Nadu, Rajasthan, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Himachal Pradesh, and Madhya Pradesh to support about 24 gigawatt of RE power. Financial arrangement is, of course, the 40% central assistance, 40% KfW loan, and 20% state equity. The scheme's target is that 9,700 circuit kilometer transmission line to be deployed, and 22,600 megavolt ampere substation capacity will be introduced. So work under progress, 7,365 circuit kilometers, which is 82% of the total allocation. The transmission line constructed, and 9,976 MVA capacity, which is a 44% of the sanctioned capacity, substation charged. Expected completion is July 2022. Interstate laying of new lines of 66.5 gigawatt capacity. So this is under Green Energy Corridor scheme. Interstate transmission system, the 6 gigawatt capacity commission and 66.5 gigawatt capacity planned or under construction. This is interstate or intrastate transmission system, 14 gigawatt capacity commission and 10 gigawatt capacity under construction. Factors which led to lower tariffs and accelerated RE division these are the reason. Basically, the introduction of the RPO, that is Renewable Purchase Obligation Trajectory, issued till 21-22. Payment security with demand aggregation, bids by intermediate producers. Like previously, the bids was done by respective state and other parties, but now it was centralized through SECI on behalf of state itself. And interstate transmission charges waiver till June 2025. And other financial, fiscal, and other incentives like feed-in tariff, accelerated depreciation, GBS central subsidy, concessional custom duty, and lower GST. So that is why that tariff has come down in the RE. As I was mentioning that recently Government of India introduced the ALMM, that approved list of models and manufacturer. The idea is that to get an idea the total manufacturing capacity and the different models manufactured by those manufacturer in India, and listing out those models and manufacturer, and in any government projects, those manufacturer make module can only be participant. Otherwise, in all the recent bidding process, all the tendering, the condition is that module should from the ALMM list. The models and should be from the ALMM list. So till now, the NICE is implementing this. This one, NICE is doing the auditing on site to all the manufacturer. Till date, 66 number of manufacturer enlisted or recommended. Recommended, I are using enlisted recommended because it's an ongoing process. So right now, probably when we recommend to ministry, so there is certain approval mechanism. It takes 15-20 days, and then it comes to the next list. So that is why I have mentioned that that already listed plus what is recommended already. It total is 66 manufacturer, and total aggregated capacity 18,050 megawatt per year. It is the solar PV module manufacturing capacity, and they produce different technologies, mostly multi-crystalline, monopark, and bifacial. These are the different 4 technologies they produce, and number of manufacturer wise are distributed this type of manufacturing, and the capacity in terms of the technology wise, like multi, this is 1,840 megawatt, that mono crystalline 4,396, and monopark, which is latest technology, the efficiency is high, and this is 2,975 megawatt per year, and of course the bifacial, it is around 1,629 megawatt per year. So this is the status of the manufacturing of PV module of the country as on today. Atmanirbhar Bharat, so there are certain steps taken by Government of India. Annual module demand 25 to 30 gigawatt. Domestic capacity is, as I just mentioned, 18 gigawatt in the last previous slide. So so there is a lot of demand to increase the manufacturing capacity across the country. Domestic content requirement in MNRE schemes, like as I mentioned, the CPSU scheme, whatever module will be deployed, it should be 100% domestic content. BCD, that basic custom duty, which is effect 1st April 2022 announced, which is around 40%, so that it should boost up the Indian manufacturer vis-a-vis the module imported from mostly basically from China and Taiwan. Approved list of models and manufacturers, as I have just now mentioned, because in all the bidding process, only the manufacturer who is listed only can participate. The PLI, recently, budget 19,500 crore is introduced for the production link incentive and to set up the facility, the manufacturing facility in India, and taking into consideration all the value chain. In a module basically is the end product. So for making module you need the cell. For the making cell you need the silicon wafer, and for silicon wafer you need the polysilicon. So basically If you put a module line, so you have to depend on the cell from somebody. And if you make the cell line, then again you have to depend for your wafer for someone. So that's what the total value chain. The PLI scheme was devised such a way that people should invest money starting from the polysilicon to module manufacturing. And then recently the big players like Reliance, Adani, they already announced such manufacturing it's going to come in near future. An expected capacity addition by March 2024, 25 gigawatt module, 25 gigawatt solar cells, and 10 gigawatt wafer and ingot, what I'm talking about through the PLI scheme. Based on the recently the IREDA introduced the UI for the PLI scheme, and based on the applications, so these are the projections by March 2024, the expected capacity addition will be this much. So if we, in a nutshell, if we put together the achievement, that 155 gigawatt RE, of course, that included the large hydro, which is more than 25 gigawatt. 3 times growth in RE installed capacity between 2014 to 2022, 1 billion tons emission averted, 12% share of RE in electricity generation, 5.25 lakhs crore total investment, and falling RE tariffs. Today, the wind per kilowatt hour, the price is 2.43, however, the solar is 1.99 only. Now come to the last stage of that one, that is the green national green hydrogen mission. This is the framework that I think it'll be better to go to the next slide. I will just point by point I can explain that the Honorable PM, it has launched the National Hydrogen Mission on 15th of August 2021. This mission aims to meet climate targets and making India a green hydrogen hub, and thereby reduce dependence on fossil fuels and also imports of crude oil. It will help in achieving production target of 5 million tons of green hydrogen by 2030. Manufacturers of green hydrogen may purchase renewable powers from the power exchange or set up renewable energy capacity themselves or through any developer. Manufacturer can bank unconsumed renewable power up to 30 days with distribution company and take it back when required. Waiver of interstate transmission charges for a period of 25 years will be allowed to the manufacturer for Green Hydrogen Commission before 30th June 2025. Manufacturers of green hydrogen and renewable energy plants shall be given connectivity to the grid on priority basis. Benefit of RPO will be granted to green hydrogen manufacturer, and distribution license for renewable power consumable. For providing statutory clearances in a time-bound manner, a single portal to be set up by MNRE. Manufacturers of green hydrogen to be allowed to set up bunkers near ports for storage, for exports, and use by shipping. Land for storage for this purpose to be provided by respective port authorities at applicable charges. So these are the the key features of the green hydrogen mission. Now coming back to the green hydrogen, basically we are using the word green hydrogen. Basically, there's no universally agreed definition yet for the green hydrogen, as there is no international green hydrogen standard. So the definition under development is under development, considering renewable pathways for production, including biomethane and municipal solid waste, associated CO2 emissions, and sustainability. So green hydrogen presently may be synonyms with renewable energy. So you can see that gray if you make like that G green hydrogen, so generation of renewable energy based hydrogen. So, so this is as because this is definition is under development because there is no hydrogen standard. So based upon the type of production or method of production, it is classified in different name. The green hydrogen, basically, if it is PV or wind, maybe the renewable source of energy is the input source. And then by electrolysis of water, which splits water into water and oxygen and hydrogen, and then you store the hydrogen and utilize it for the purpose. So this is now called the green hydrogen. In case of blue hydrogen, that methane synthesis is the procedure, but where the carbon dioxide is basically a byproduct. But if you use the carbon collection and utilization system, those carbon dioxide which is emit as a byproduct, then this is considered as a blue hydrogen. Otherwise, if the CCUS is not there, it will be considered as a gray hydrogen. And of course, the electrolysis is done using the nuclear energy as the source. It named as a pink hydrogen, and electrolysis with solar power as the only source. Because sometimes if you're using a hybrid renewable energy like PV and wind, that is a renewable because renewable source. If you're using PV alone, so it can be named as a yellow hydrogen. So these are the different nomenclature by using the different sources of or different process of preparation of the hydrogen. If you see the current hydrogen production figures in tons in country-wise, so India is the third largest producer. It's a 6 million ton hydrogen to produce. Basically, is 90% utilized for the this refinery and ammonia. That this production. So that is the major requirement, and rest 10% utilized for the other purposes. So basically, the fertilizer and the refinery is the major utilizer, and that is why the 6 million ton products India produce in a year as of now. So global hydrogen production and the utilization is about 74 million metric ton. Per annum is a global. So it is mostly in the 4 different, the natural gas, the steam, methane reforming is the current process today. And then the renewable sources, wind, solar, biomass, hydro, geothermal, utilizing this energy by electrolysis, and then nuclear as energy utilized, and directly by coal and with carbon sequestration. So these are the 4 major different method of hydrogen globally utilized and prepared for hydrogen preparation. And for it utilization mostly in some fuel cells, engines, turbines, energy storage, it is utilized. In the chemical industry also, the petroleum recover and refinery, electronics, the methanol production, ammonia production. So these are the different applications worldwide. So why I am this hydrogen also added into the solar, because as one of the the solar, if we increase the capacity also, and the major challenge is that the storage. The battery cannot be a solution for the storage of the solar, because the battery has got its life, and battery has got a lot of hazardous use also. This has got some recycling and all these things are there. So nowadays a concept has come that hydrogen can be utilized as a storage, because the energy what we are producing in the daytime by using the sun energy, that can be utilized for electrolysis of the water, and in the form of hydrogen, it can be stored. And in later stage, when you require that hydrogen can be converted in energy again from the hydrogen. So this is one of the key area as a hydrogen as a storage for the solar, and not only solar, for all other renewable as well. So that's all, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Chandan Banerjee. Was indeed
And just I wanted to say, I just talk about the different policies this one, but for any technical specific presentation, because that is my core area, about the solar cell module and all these things. In the later stage, we can give another lecture about the technology related matter, or the material science and solar cells and all these things. Basically, that my core area in that area only. So this is all our talking about today, policy and schemes of the government of India and the status of the government of India as on today.
Yeah, surely we'll come back to your office and get your another engagement with us for those in-depth details about RE. So now may I request Dr. Ramanamurthy to take some questions, please.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead. Please unmute yourself and go ahead, sir. Mr. Parthavi. Mr. Parthavi, you'd like to ask a question? Yeah, please go ahead. You're not audible, sir. You're still muted.
It's okay.
Yeah. Yes, please go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Chandan Banerjee, for the excellent and informative lecture on solar energy. I get a feeling that it is still prohibitively expensive in India. So we have to go in a big way for substituting the conventional energies with these renewable energies. I have a suggestion that probably you find a lot of multi-storied complexes coming up on the urban areas of many cities. So whether we can have a solar panels as mandatory for those things, that's one thing. And second thing is, how about maintenance of existing solar plants? Because I find I have a domestic house top, this one, it requires regular maintenance in terms of cleaning the panels. So how about the maintenance of this one?
Yeah, basically, that's what I was telling, that a lot of new thing is coming like this. We're talking about solar power plant in a larger size also, that also required a lot of maintenance, especially the cleaning cycle. And the most of the area in India, especially the accumulation of dust is huge. And that if you see the performance, because we do the performance analysis of the many power plant, and we can see that many power plant is not giving output as per the requirement, as per it's supposed to give, because of the dust accumulation. So as you rightly said, that maintenance, of course, the big power plant, there is a maintenance schedule they can do, and there is a lot of automatic mechanism by for those power plant. But your question is that for the domestic purpose, for the few modules, maybe the 3-4 modules, cleaning mechanism, really there is no ecosystem for that. Probably that developer who is putting that plant there, so there should be certain AMC contract with them. That is how we have to manage nowadays. Otherwise, there is no direct ecosystem that like or for other things, like your AC got some issues and you call somebody who will come for the repair and all these things. Of course, for the power plant, like small power plant, maybe rooftop or something, so that there should be the AMC contract with the developer only, so they can do the periodic cleaning and of course these things. And regarding your policy related matter, that mandatory for solar panels to be deployed across a big multi-storied, yes, these schemes are coming. because in many places, of course, it is not the central government scheme. It should be deployed through the state government. Of course, for government building, yes, central government can insist that one, the central government offices and all these things across the country. But of course, in the different state has got the different policies. Yeah, it is under implementation. We have rightly said that it should be mandatory for putting the solar rooftop of the big multi-storage buildings.
Thank you, Mama.
Chanda here, can I ask Ramamurthy?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
Dr. Chandan Banerjee, though I am
Yes.
not able to see you,
I can just video. I don't know that. Actually, I'm using the mobile data. I'm not sure it will.
yeah, you're looking very handsome.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Anyhow, let me come back. Your talk was, of course, extremely informative, and really, I feel so good actually to see that people like you are doing a wonderful job. In fact, if I understand correctly, perhaps 55 gigawatts you are already producing by this solar panels.
It is not solar. It is a renewable 155 gigawatt, including all renewable energy sources.
But your part is about 55 gigawatt, isn't it?
That is the solar part. Yes.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
anyhow, my question is, whenever I used to hear the experts of nuclear power or the other base load power people, so one of the things which I was told is that there is a big issue of connecting solar power with our conventional grid system in India, actually. Now, let me complete my question.
Yeah.
But now I was, greatly encouraged to see you are having your own substation, your own transmission lines. Now, please explain actually that if you succeed in your own transmission lines and your own substation, do you not need the, connectivity with the regular power grids? So that is my first question. Secondly, about the Atmanirbharta, which you mentioned, that itself was very impressive. You said that so much is already being done in the government sector, as well as you have also, I think, approved many private companies who can make the solar power panels indigenously.
Right.
Now tell me, where from they will get the semiconductor material? Are we producing of the right purity in India? These are two different questions.
Yeah, so coming back to a last question, that semiconductor material is basically a silicon here. The silicon wafer is the base material for the making the solar cell. As I was telling that through the PLI scheme, Government of India is going to introduce the full value chain starting from the polysilicon to module. Yes, that ecosystem is not there today in the country. You will be surprised, the polysilicon generation production in India is zero as of today. There is no polysilicon generation. So 100%. And if you talk about the solar cell, the finished cell for making the module, it is almost, I just mentioned that 18 gigawatt is the capacity of the module manufacturing, and the solar cell manufacturing capacity of the today country is 3 to 4 gigawatt only. So you can imagine that the rest part is imported mostly from the China only. So just to stop this import, that the PLI scheme has come, the production link incentives, so that the ecosystem of generation of the polysilicon, which is the raw material for the wafer, then ingot, then your solar cell, and then of course the last part is the module. So this thing is going to come through the PLI scheme. You have rightly said that semiconductor material is not there as on today in the country. Even though it is a silicon, it is from the sand we can produce, but it is not there. And coming back to your other one, yes, this is a separate green energy corridor basically, and this is a separate line. And very recently, one proposal also came and we're going to introduce that, there are plenty of wind and sun is there in the Leh and Ladakh region. So they are going to put a hybrid system. The solar and wind, and that will be transmitted through the green energy line, transmission line to Haryana and Delhi here. So that is also going to come. So this is a separate line, because you are rightly said that developers are facing a huge these things to grid connectivity with the conventional grid, because our grid is not very steady. So that is a real problem to introduce solar, like especially for the big solar park. You know, we're talking about 1,000 to 2,000 megawatt solar park. When the evacuation done through the grid, it's a real challenge, because our grid are not very stable. So that is why the idea of a separate grid was introduced.
Thank you.
I have a question. May I ask?
Yeah, sure.
Please go ahead.
Yeah. So my question is, what are the present program and drive for the development of the silicon solar cells, as well as the hydrogen production?
The hydrogen production mission has just launched, and if I can tell you that total ecosystem, see 6 million metric ton that India produced hydrogen, it is not, of course, not green, and 90% utilized for the fertilizer and refinery. So the green hydrogen mission was introduced to build the ecosystem across the country in the green hydrogen. And as of now, a small station in a R&D scale is having in ICE only, which has got basically 15 nm cube capacity of hydrogen generation through renewable energy source and through electrolysis process of water. Other than that, today in country, there is no green hydrogen generation facility available in the country. And
what are the research and development program for indigenous development of solar cell and hydrogen?
Yeah, hydrogen, see, major issue, the hydrogen is, see, that is an electrolyzer, and other is the application area is the fuel cell. So these two area is research is going on. That one is the fuel cell area and one is the electrolyzer. Basically, the capacity, the electrolyzer capacity, the efficiency in fuel cell also, the efficiency, these two has to be improved when it has to come commercially. Even the fuel cell based vehicle is always available, but the efficiency is not that very good. So the research is going on into these two areas, basically in terms of hydrogen and solar cell.
In Indian, I just want to know the Indian scenario.
I'm Indian only, I'm talking about Indian. Not many people are doing, but there are 2-3 groups are working on that in fuel cell and in electrolyzer area.
Okay.
And solar cell efficiency, yes, there is only 2-3 groups are working. There are two different technology. One is crystalline silicon, one is thin film, and thin film has got different technology: CDT, CIGS, amorphous, micromorph, and there is some fourth generation technologies as there, which is called which is basically dye-sensitized solar cell, organic solar cell. So the silicon technology has reached to almost to its thermodynamics limit. The 30%. Nowadays the cell technology 26 plus efficiency achieved. Even though few groups is working like IIT Bombay, BHL. Then IIST, there are a few groups are working in the solar cell technology, but really their benchmark efficiency, which is there, this is far below than the global.
Have we lost sound?
Yeah, audible?
You're audible. You're audible. Please come again.
Yeah.
Now you're audible.
And efficiency, like the latest technology like PRC, Park, TopCon, these are the area people are working. The latest technology which is not yet commercialized, like perovskite, organic solar cells, there are also 3-4 groups, including IIT Delhi, IIT Bombay, then IIC Bangalore, even some industry like BHL, they're also working on that.
Yeah, there's a question from Mr. P.R. Vaidya. He's raised his hand.
Yeah.
Vaidya, sir, can you please go ahead? Hi there, sir. Hello.
To hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, it's very nice to see the progress starting from solar thermal many years back, 30 years back, people were talking. But while we are on accelerated path of installed capacity, we should not miss the view of disposal, disposal and recycling, battery and the solar cell. I mean, that environmental aspect, some institute like yours should continuously watch. Otherwise, one day we may have all the capacity and nowhere to dispose.
You are absolutely correct, and we have a special call from our ministry this year, R&D call, and that one of the key aspect area is there the recycling and the circular economy. So that is there, and even NICE has submitted a project to MNRE in this regard. That is the circular economy and the recycling, and NPL, National Physical Laboratory, the CSL lab also working on that. So yes, you are right. This is the true area. European Union and all the developing country already taken action on this, because when the end of life, what will happen with this huge number of modules, and it will going to be a hazardous these things for future these things. So of course we have taken, and it is not only to dispose of and how to recycle those components. So that we have a special call. We have very recently, and we are receiving applications, and NICE also given one proposal. So this area is taken care. Sir.
Thank you.
Just a couple of comments I'd like to share with the forum. One from Mr. Amar Garg. He said, excellent lecture, very informative, but he would have liked to hear some technical aspects as well. And I think already Mr. Ramarao has said that we'll have a part 2 in which Mr. You offered to share all the technical details. And similarly, there's SP Ruhela, who's also thanking you for an excellent talk. Tripti, Mohite, many thanks for this quite interesting and informative talk. Looking forward for your next presentation with technical aspects. So definitely, sir, that's something we are all looking forward to. I don't see any more questions, any more raised hands, but the forum is open if anybody wants to raise a question. Mr. Parsardi, you'd like to add, or Ramarao? Who's going to?
Yes, sir. It is not a question, it's a request and a suggestion to the organizers of INS. You have been organizing excellent webinars all through, and courtesy Dr. D.K. Sinha, I am able to attend. I am basically a geologist, retired deputy general from Geological Survey of India. I am enjoying all these lectures, but I find the attendance of this one, even webinars, is not very encouraging. So I would like the organizers to think of probably associating other groups also. In fact, I am secretary to a group called Krishnuni Memorial Charitable Trust. We have a group of scientists. They are also very much interested in this one. So they can also join in these type of lectures, very useful lectures. That's my suggestion to the organizers, please.
Yeah, well taken, sir. We will request you to kindly circulate these announcements to your group so that they are also benefited by this excellent talk by the eminent speakers. So we also run our YouTube. Some of the people may have joined through YouTube. So that number we will not know. But then this is something that we will take care. Thank you for your suggestion.
Thank you, sir.
Malhotra ji.
Hello.
Malhotra ji, yeah, please.
Okay. So friends, I think all of you will agree with me that it was an excellent talk by Dr. Chandan Banerjee, and on solar energy, which is definitely the rising star or already a shining star on the map of energy in India or everywhere. So thank you very much, Dr. Chandan Banerjee, for this excellent talk. And as already demanded by so many people, I think we will have a second edition of the talk, which will be more scientific and technical
I
debate.
will talk about the different solar cell technologies. So
Oh, yeah,
that will be,
So
that is my
we
core
will-
area basically. This is not my core area. It was
Yeah.
like a popular talk.
So we will
Of
look
course, that is
forward
my
to-
core area.
Yes. So Dr. Ramarao will be in touch with you, and we will. I think very soon we will have you.
Sure.
And then, friends, of course, all these webinars we have been bringing to you, thanks to our president, his guidance. Shri S.K. Mehta, we are always getting his guidance. So I profusely thank him. And then I thank all my colleagues in the executive committee of INS, and particularly the subcommittee for the webinars, excellently headed by Dr. Ramarao. And I also thank our treasurer, Shri G.D. Mittal, and another member, Dr. Shimjit, for reaching this information to maximum number of people so that they can join. And here actually, I would like to make a very short comment on Shri Parthasarthi's comment that the number of speakers are very less. See, there are 2-3 aspects in that. See, what we have done since this I have been observing, since we have made this YouTube channel also available. So what happens on a Saturday evening, people have their programs. And in fact, there is a competition. There are many webinars on Saturday evenings nowadays. So what people do, this pleasure is there that if it is there on the YouTube channel, they will see it later at their leisure time. So that is why you don't see an active audience. But I can assure you, I'm telling you that we do get the numbers from our YouTube channels. We have multiple visitors and we have people who repeatedly see these talks. So though we would also be very happy if the active audience, live audience increases, but whatever number is there, they are there with the great interest. So I, in fact, I thank the audience also. And of course, I request the audience that they can pass on the word and increase their numbers by telling their friends and other people in their circle. And now, as part of my vote of thanks, I always announce the next webinar if the data is available, if the information is available to me. So thankfully, this time we are already ready with the information for the next webinar. So the next webinar will take place on 2nd July. So probably 2 weeks from today, yes. And Dr. Kiran Kumar, former chairman, Indian Space Research Organization, will be speaking to us. His topic will be harnessing space technology, and part of his lecture, he will also cover role of academia in space technology. So with this information, I sign off, wishing you a very good weekend. Enjoy yourself, and please come back for our webinars. Thank you very much. Once again, thank you, Dr. Chandan Banerjee.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Chandan Banerjee. Thank you very much. I'll be in touch with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Ramanamurthy, can you stop the recording?
Yeah, sure.